welcome to Basketball Talk Pro. My name is Ron Ekker. I want to explain before we start here on this particular video. When I make a video, I have a definite purpose, and it's only one purpose for each one of them. I have a form I fill out to make sure I'm fulfilling that. This particular video is a very strong feeling of mine, and even though I say a lot about it and I repeat it a lot, I think it's that important. First of all, we have to determine just exactly what do we mean by a system. Well, the definition is, in the dictionary, a complex whole formed from related parts. You can apply that to almost anything. The whole is complex, or would appear to be, but the key to it is that everything relates, all the parts relate to that whole. And this is very true in basketball and coaching. The best coaches have a system. They may not even have a name for it. They may not be able to express it, but they have one. Because you can tell when you see them doing the same thing year after year after year and having success with it. Players come and go, but the system remains the same. That coach has got a system. Now, there's some great examples. Dean Smith had a wonderful system. John Wooden had a very definite system that he carried from his college playing days. He only varied from that system once, and that was when Jabbar, then called Alcindor, played for him. Jabbar was just so dominant. He had to make some adjustments for it. Well, what does it do? The main thing, I'm not going to go into great detail. My book does a lot better job of going into that detail, and you should study that. But just sketching it out, it removes the clutter. I see so many coaches, as I go to practices and watch their team play, from all levels, college to the NBA to international to high school, doing things that just clutter up their approach and what they want to accomplish, or what it appears that they want to accomplish. Well, when you get rid of clutter, you boil things down to the simplest aspect. That you gain simplicity, which helps you and helps your players. Personally, I think once you have a system that you can really have put some time into and put together a good, strong system, you'll find that coaching is so much easier. You don't have to come to every practice thinking, what am I going to do? It'll be right there for you. What should I run? What should I practice? What kind of thing, what drills should I use? Well, it's going to be all there for you. If you have a good system, if you have the correct system, and if everything relates, you get rid of what is unnecessary, which simplifies your system. Today, my main purpose here is to show you briefly, almost a sketch of how to form a system. Most coaches don't know how. Most coaches may not be interested, but those that are don't know how, because it's not something that you just do naturally. So I'm going to show you just a simple sketch of how to form a system. but I have to do that on the whiteboard, and we'll go there now. Well, the graph that I want you to see is a circle. I have a reason for that, why I chose a circle. This, the way it's laid out here, is actually called a mandala system, a mandala circle. And that is based on the Hindu and Buddhist faith. The mandala, to them, not only is a method of organization, but primarily it is believed to have a certain amount of power, mystical power that they can't explain. It's been around for centuries and centuries. So I chose a circle, though, for my reason, was to show you that it has to enclose what you're doing and keep out what you don't want to do or shouldn't do, or things that don't relate. In order to move from over here into one of these spots, it should relate to what your whole is and what you want to achieve. Your goal, not goals really, but a statement of what your system is. And I put that up on top, a statement that you need to have. I say, and I think it's a good test for you, you should be able to write a statement of your system in 2 sentences. In chapter 6 of volume 2 of the book, my book, I start that chapter under the monk system with two sentences that describe what my whole system is and based on. So how do you get there? Well, let's take a look at each part of this. And I think I've got them very close to what is important when you're putting together your system. This block or square within the circle is your values. What do you really value? You probably never ever sat down and thought about it. But your inner self has values. You have to find out what those values are. What do you really value as far as basketball coaching is concerned? If you search long enough and hard enough, you will determine what you really value. That's where your heart is, and that's where you get the most done. That's how you build a system that fits you. This part, the next part, is the 3 elements that you must have in your coaching. Half-court offense, full court offense, and what we call the third dimension, the third element, which is that area where players are going on their own. But you also have those same elements in defense. You have to defend half court, you have to defend full court, and you have to defend that third element where players are going on their own. So those, you have to put in there how you're going to do those 3 elements. This element I feel is extremely important too, which is called personal development. This is developing yourself. What do you need to get better at, to gain, to improve, to add to your personality and your character, to reach the heights that you want to reach, the things that you want to accomplish? We all, day in and day out, for years and years, for as long as you're in this profession, we all have to work on ourselves. So that's another part of your system. And the last part, your fourth square here, are your drills and your practice plans. You got all of this. Now, how are you going to apply it to your daily work, to your season-by-season work? Well, I think every season you need to have this in place before you ever blow the whistle for the first practice. Because if you start to do it as it go along, you're going to run into some problems. My suggestion to you is to make a list, like I have here. Improvisation for me identifies values. The monk offense for me identifies the three element square. In other words, I value improvisation. I value intuitive play. I would be foolish then not to coach it. What helps me coach improvisation and intuitive play? Monk offense. Personal development traits. What kind of a character do I have to have in order to express those on the floor with my team? That involves learning. How do I get my players to learn? How do I get my players to do what I want them to do? And this is the drills and practice plans that have to be decided on, that fit all of this. You ask yourself a question every time you put something in this circle. Does it relate to this statement? If it doesn't, you got to throw it out. No matter how you like it, no matter how much, you may love it. But if it doesn't relate to what you're trying to achieve, you got to get rid of it. It's hard to do. But it gets easier and easier. For me now, I have no, there are hardly any decisions to make. I know what relates to what I want to do. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do, and yeah, I can go to a clinic and see a great drill. I really like that drill, but it doesn't fit in the circle. Sorry. I have to move on to the stuff that does fit in the circle. If you start to put together a system, my advice to you would be this. Use a model and use the model reverently. If you're going to run, for example, the Duke system, you better study every aspect of that system and then do it just like Coach K does it. Don't start putting your ego into this thing. You think, I got to have that, I feel better with this. Well, if you're going to use a model, and I think every one of you should, then stay with the model. Stay with it religiously. Don't fudge at all. On one little item, one little fudge can maybe throw the whole thing off. Popovich, who has a very strong system with San Antonio, look at how they win year after year. It's like clockwork. They're too old. Everybody says they're too old. Yeah, well, they're leading the NBA. The system. The players admit that it's a system. They don't take credit for it. Well, here's what he did. 1 year, it may have covered 2 years, in fact. He took a leave of absence from his coaching job at a very small school, college in California. He spent a year with Dean Smith, and he spent a year with Larry Brown. Day after day, going to practice, watching them. Well, he got to talk to them because they saw him there all the time. So that talk, also he could ask questions. He studied them, and then he did it exactly like they did it. I can name almost every successful coach where their system came from, pretty much. Don't test me, but I'm pretty confident I can do that. I have a book that gives you a system. if it appeals to you at all, get the book, watch Basketball Talk Pro, do the measuring basketball performance, do the course that we have, and just immerse yourself in it. You'll be able to change. All of those guys that I mentioned made some changes, but not until they had the model down. I advise you to do the same thing. Well, that's it for today. I hope this helps you. I hope that maybe you can't do anything about it now, but over summer, remember these parts. Go back to the video. Get it all written down. Draw your circle, draw your squares. So we'll see you next time. Thank you.